Hey everybody, welcome to etrailer.com. I'm Bobby, and today we're taking a look at the RockyMounts MonoRail 2 bike platform rack here on our 2017 Honda CRV. So this is going to be an excellent way, guys, of going ahead, securing your bikes, and that way they get there safe and sound to our destination so we can start having some fun. Now, I'm a really big fan of the RockyMounts MonoRail 2 for a lot of reasons. In my mind, it's kind of delivering everything you want from a bike rack, especially with this style. We are getting a front tire hold, which is going to make it excellent for almost any bike out there. Right here, you guys can see we do have our carbon frame bike on here, making it excellent to go ahead and carry these guys because there's no frame contact, so we won't be warping or deteriorating those carbon frames. However, it doesn't just stop there. With a 60-pound capacity rating per bike, we can actually get those big old heavy e-bikes on here. And what's great about this, RockyMounts already gone ahead and said we're probably going to use this to have some of our fun mountain bikes on here too. They have included a fat bike tire adapter as well, so you're pretty much well situated for almost any bike you were to throw on here, right? Even those smaller bikes. Now, the one thing I'll say to that might be your biggest issue. If your wheelbase isn't long enough to get to this other side of that platform, you're just going to be kind of resting on this rail here. Now, that's not the end of the world, right? But as long as that strap can maybe get this guy, you can hang a little bit here. But definitely not going to be great for like your BMX or maybe even those kids bikes. Probably just not going to have that wheelbase you're looking for to go ahead and be held on here. But I digress, not going to be the end of the world. How do those cradles work themselves? Well, again, let's strip up the front, or I'm sorry, the rear here. Really, really easy to use. We just have a little lever system. This strap right here has a nice little eye hole to go ahead, put your finger in, really start latching that down, which is nice. Love that 18C standard group in there, so our road bikes and carbon frame bikes have an A-OK time, even with those smaller tires. But again, nice that we're accounting for those bigger ones as well. What I like too is this front cradle. Why I like it? Because you guys get this nice little backer here. So even those really, really long wheelbases, those 48 inchers and up, you're going to have an A-OK time hanging in here. Because even if this does, in the back here, go ahead and get this guy open a little bit more, actually oscillate to go ahead and account for our longer wheelbases, right? We're going to have that backer. So even if we have too much of our wheel hanging out just a little bit where it's a little sketchy for us, we have this nice support system to make sure that our bike is nice and anchored, and it's definitely going nowhere. Now, we do have some nice little blue kind of contact points letting us know exactly where we need to go to start manipulating our rack. And of course, that ratcheting front wheel strap holds it right like that. That way when we pop up, unless, of course, we're hitting that button. Again, that blue kind of being a little stark, which is nice to go ahead and see no matter what kind of conditions you're at. Now, one thing that's excellent about the RockyMounts as well, it actually can tilt away while our bikes are on it. Let's go ahead and see how we can do that. Here at the bottom, we're going to have this little blue lever. All I got to do, pull that guy towards me and then just push slightly down on my carrier. That's going to allow me to tilt that away. Now I can get here to the back of my CRV, pop open my hatch, and now I can get access to those bike helmets, coolers, anything else I might need from the inside here. Makes it really easy to, maybe we're on those longer road trips, stopping at the gas stops, right? Or secondly, we're just doing a little errand running either before or after our ride. So this can be a nice way of accessing your cargo relatively quickly, which you love to see. To walk this up, really, really easy. All we have to do, support our mast and simply bring it up. It's going to go ahead and latch itself in place. No pins or clips I have to replace, which is really, really nice. Pretty hands-free other than, you know, that whole process of lifting it up. Well, it's not going to take me too long to get the bike off. Before I do that, though, let's go ahead and see how it's interacting here on the back of our CRV. So I definitely am seeing on my driver's side a lot of kind of gunk up right here on our taillight already. So you're definitely going to be losing a little bit of that visibility for people behind you. What's good still, we have good distance between our carrier. So at night, we're still going to have good admittance. Of course, we have our top cowling light to go ahead and make sure that people are know when we're braking. So I don't think we're going to have any issues. And again, this is kind of a fitment issue you run into with almost any carrier out there. I just love to see that it's not really impacting us too badly here. Now, our backup camera, though, is going to be offset here today. So as it stands right now with just our single bike, we actually might have a pretty decent viewing platform, right, to go ahead and see behind us. Now, as you get your second bike loaded on here, you're definitely going to lose a lot of that visibility. And talking about the amount of bikes we can throw on here, one thing that's really cool about the RockyMounts as well, you actually have the ability of actually putting on an extension and bringing this to a 3-bike platform rack. Now, if you really want a 4-bike platform rack and you don't want to be kind of boxed in with the RockyMounts here, you could also look at the Kuat NV 2.0. Now that is going to be a little bit more expensive. You're going to see a few more premium features being included on that guy. But the big thing for me, you can bring that to a 4-bike platform rack for yourself, while the Rocky Mounts is going to be limited to that 3. But in my mind, this is still just an excellent carrier. It definitely is one of my favorites. So let's go ahead and see how we can get the bike off. And to do that, all we have to do, press in right here on this lever. That's going to allow me to take my strap out and go ahead and release that. But that does bring us to our last hold on our bike. We want to make sure we have a good handle on it so it doesn't tilt into our car or ourselves. And then I just have to press in that button, releasing that arm, pushing it off to the side. Now I can grab my bike, and now I'm already off, ready to ride. Now mounting it, the only thing to really watch out for here is going to be this little strap right here. Sometimes it likes to kind of hang in the way. Sometimes it bends itself right here. Easy thing to do. Go ahead and drop that wheel, pick it up, set it in, and that makes it really easy to go ahead and actually run it right through. Of course, we can go ahead and bring in that front cradle as well and bring our arm back to help kind of clean it up. One thing a lot of people like to do too, kind of push on the inside there of your cradle, kind of bring that in, and that'll help make sure that it's nice and secure. Now, something that's good about them, they have a pretty good resistance anyway, so it's not something you really need. Honestly, a lot of people just kind of do it for the look, just because it has that kind of nice and tight feel to it. Well, there are going to be a couple dimensions we want to keep in mind with any hitch-mounted accessory, and let's go ahead and see how it's interacting here on our CRV. So the big one is going to be our clearance to the ground. We don't want our carrier actually having any contact, as that could end up damaging our bikes, right? So let's go ahead and see from the ground here today. I'm going to go ahead to my furthest point and then one of my closest points for us, just to give us a couple double checks here, making sure we're staying well above where we want to be. And that looks like that's going to put me right under 22, so about 21 3/4 of an inch there to the very end of our carrier. Now that's a pretty good distance in my mind. I don't think I'm going to be too concerned about this making contact. The only thing to keep in mind, as those front wheels go up, the back will go down, and so will your hitch mounted accessories. So let's give one last little check here. I'm going to give you guys, that's about 19.5, and then to our lever there, that's about 18 inches as well. Both of those are in a pretty good spot, but like I said, if you find yourself approaching a very steep incline, it might be okay just to take it easy, take it slow at first. That way we make sure that we don't have any interaction. But again, I think we're going to be A-okay. From the back of the bumper, though, here today, we can go ahead and see how much length we're adding onto our CRV. And from the very back to the end of the little post right there, that's putting us at 33.5 inches to the back of our vehicle. Now, I will say 33 is somewhat longer for a 2-bike platform rack than you might be kind of expecting, but we do have a way of shortening it down. I just really like the distance I'm getting here on my platform between my bikes. That makes it a lot easier to actually set in your different bikes, which is really, really nice too, because they're not so close, right? They're not interacting as much. And we do have a way of shortening this up. How do we do that? We're going to come right back to that blue lever we were at earlier. Instead of going down, I'm going to bring it right up by just holding that lever, walking it until it clicks in place. And there we are, nice and secure. From the back of the bumper now to the very end of our carrier, that's only putting us at 14 inches right to that very end, so definitely not too bad at all. Hopefully now we can get this in the garage, or at the very least, give ourselves some maneuverability to get it parked at the trailhead. Moving our way down to the inside, though, here, we can go ahead and see that we do have a 2-inch shank here today, held in, of course, by our 2-inch hitch receiver. And on the inside of that, you are seeing a threaded anti-rattle hitch bolt. Now, those guys are great. They are pretty standard across the industry, but you still love to see them. What's going to be happening, that's taking all that shake and play out, bringing it online to one system with our frame of our car. And as I'm going to shake this, you guys are going to see it actually moves the entirety of the vehicle. So it's all in line with that CRV, making for a nicer, smoother ride for ourselves, our bike rack, but especially our bikes. On the inside of here, too, you are seeing a little locking cord to go ahead and make sure that your carrier stays attached to your vehicle when you leave it unattended. And talking about locking cords, you might have noticed this little guy right here. What's this for? Well, we actually do have an included cable lock that can run through both of our bikes and then plug itself right in here to the side, which is really, really nice. And then, of course, bring your locking cord on top of it, lock it up, and that way your bike stays nice and secure to your carrier, which is nice and secure to your vehicle. On the inside here too, what's nice too, and that's something we didn't really talk about, you actually can offset these platforms as well. So in the addition with them being nice and well spaced, you can shift them around. So if your posts are interacting with your handlebars, or your handlebars are interacting with your posts, you can go ahead, shift those bikes around and make sure that you have a good fit. So really, really like how that works. And overall, I'm just a really big fan of the Rocky Mounts here. I think it's nice and simplistic. It doesn't have anything too crazy going on. And honestly, it just works. Obviously, there's a lot of options out here at available here at etrailer.com. But RockyMounts has definitely become one of my favorite. Now, if the 2-bike version isn't quite what you need, maybe it's just you kind of going on a solo venture, there is going to be the single version of this available. And like I said, we actually have the way of adding on here and getting this up to a 3-bike platform rack, which can be excellent. I love having this position, how I'm not interacting with my taillights. It's not too tall. And again, that simplicity really starting to shine through. The only thing I'll say, this backup camera, probably going to lose a lot of it. This main platform here at the top, that furthest one from our vehicle, seems to be right in line where that would actually be. So as you're reversing, you might have a little bit of viewing areas, but it's going to be really reduced. Again, something that happens with almost any carrier, so it's something we're going to have to learn how to live with, in my opinion. But otherwise, guys, I think that about does it for our look here today at the RockyMounts MonoRail 2-bike platform rack here on our 2017 Honda CRV. I'm Bobby. Thank you for watching.
Here it is on our test course. We'll start by going through the slalom. This is going to show us the side-to-side action, which simulates turning corners or evasive maneuvers. Next, we're at the alternating speed bumps, which we'll see the twisting action. This will simulate hitting a curb or pothole or driving over uneven pavement. And finally, we have the full speed bumps, where we'll see the up and down action, which is just like driving out of a parking lot, garage, or driveway.